far as intel is concerned, let's see if we can bring ourselves up to speed. First of all, a lot of the sources that we have shut down. They're not allowed to talk. They're not allowed to give us updates. But we do the best we can with the ones that we can still get to or can get to us. That's a good sign, though. When things get quiet and they say we're too close to share this, that, and the other, we're too close, it's a good sign. Now, we've heard from a few different people. I'll just cut to what we're getting directly from the Redemption Center leader. In one of the Redemption Centers, we talked to about six Redemption Center leaders. And by the way, certain individuals online are telling you to go to banks. There's no redemption centers. Well, they just don't know what we know, do they? I mean, come on. You know, the banks are okay, but they're not going to give you the same highest rates on Dong and Dinar that the redemption centers will. Some of the other rates might be the same, but I can tell you, we know because we get the rates on the bank screens and on the redemption center screens. We get both of them. And there's a big contrast sometimes between the Dong rate on the screen and the Dong rate on the redemption center screen. There's a difference, big difference. I would not try it for a minute. I would only use the toll-free number and set up your appointment with the Redemption Center. They're run in this country and the U.S. by Wells Fargo, and in other countries it's HSBC. In Central and South America, it would be on Santander Bank, Banco Santander, and there are other banks that are big in the area. I don't know who the Philippines would have. I've got to call my guy who's doing ministry over there to see where in the Philippines. I would just say, think in terms of the largest bank of the Philippines. The largest one or two banks probably is going to be the way to go. Is there a redemption center there? I don't know. If there's an HSBC, that's where you want to go. If there's an HSBC in Manila or another city in the Philippines, that's where you want to be for that exchange. All right, so here's what we're getting. They were expecting at the redemption centers today, which they were in for a 6-hour training. Even if they were trained, there are new currencies that have found their way in to this first and only basket. Say what? That's right. First and only basket. Have you guys been listening and catching a few things on Newsmax or One American News? They've talked about this being a reset. President Trump's used that term reset. Is that code for a global currency reset? Maybe. But it's also a reset of a lot of different things. And that's what we're coming up to right now. We're in it. All right, so I'll get back to the Redemption Center in a second. The thing that's significant today, and this is really part of Nesara, is that the system of law that we've been under, the British Admiralty rule, the bar, that type of law is gone today, and tomorrow we start common law. Now, common law is part of Nesara. Now, they may leak out certain parts of Nesara without giving us full explanations of it. They very well could do that. What's another great thing, part of Nesara? Our new currency. We should have that in the next couple of days. The USN is the digital version. The USTN, United States Treasury note, is the physical folding money that we will have. So you got USN on the screen for Forex, and then you've got USTN, the physical currency, instead of the Federal Reserve notes that we have now. Information that we get, we've got some connections that are very much part of the U.S. Treasury. So a lot of times we'll get some information that'll come directly from Scott Bessent's office through one of our cohorts that works with him. And it looks like what the redemption centers are expecting, they were told they might have an email, this would be from Treasury, today at 5 o'clock before they left to go home, or if not, it would be in the morning. Now, my thinking is most of them will come in at 9 or 9:30 tomorrow and come in and fire up their computers and see that email tomorrow morning. That email is supposed to tell them when notifications will come out, and as a result, when first exchanges are expected to be made, and where ZIM is to be redeemed, when it is to be redeemed. So, We didn't get it tonight at 5. No email. But tomorrow morning, when they go in, it should be there. Should be there waiting for them in their inbox, and they'll fire it up and they'll see what it says about the timing. Now, this is what we're getting from the sources we can talk to. Most of them are on the same page, talking about us getting notified Wednesday afternoon-ish and setting appointments tomorrow. That would be Wednesday afternoon, setting the appointments for Thursday. I know what you're thinking. Charlie Ward's Thursday. Mm-hmm. Well, it may be the case. It may be the case that it is this Thursday that we go in for our appointments to exchange, to redeem them. And I hope so. I really think that it would be great, and I hope so. Because we've been pushed, guys. We have been pushed a day here, a day there, and seemingly for a long time, I know. But they have everything finalized. Let me think, what was the last thing that had to occur before this happened? There were a couple of things, and I understand now, even right now, from one of our sources, that there's one more thing that needs to happen before we get notified. And it should happen either tonight, overnight, or in the morning. I don't know what it is, though. I'm not sure what it is. All right, let's cut to where President Trump is. Remember, he flew out after doing a press conference. He flew out yesterday out of Andrews Joint Air Force Base to Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. But before he left, the one, remember I said something about an earth-shattering announcement was going to be made? Well, the earth-shattering announcement was the executive order to reduce the cost of medications and prescriptions so that we would no longer be paying way high rates, while a lot of the other countries are far lower than we are. That's an executive order. They're going to take some time to work on that, but we should see some results from that, and that's going to save us a lot of money in Medicare and Medicaid. And understand this, the press has been lying about it, unless you're tuned into Newsmax or One America News. Those are the two I watch. Here's how it's going to work. When you're paying for prescriptions and you have a prescription plan, that it's important to know they have no intention, Congress has no intention of limiting benefits to people on Medicaid. That's basically government health care. That's what that is. They'll still get those benefits. There'll be no reduction in benefits. Medicare, same thing. There'll be no reduction in benefits. And really realize our Medicare is coming out of our Social Security now, if you're of that age and you're getting social. But my understanding is that will no longer come out of our Social Security checks every month, or our direct deposits, really, because that's what it is, direct deposit. So I don't know when that's going to start, but that's something else that will bump our Social Security payments up a little bit. But the big thing is that President Trump is well received in Saudi Arabia by Prince, let's see, what's his name? Mohammed bin Salman. Mohammed MBS is what they call him. Mohammed bin, I think B-I-N, Mohammed bin Salman. And he's the prince, and gosh, he and Trump get along famously, beautifully. They have a real friendship. There's a bond there. And that was a great first place to go in Riyadh. And Riyadh in English means Ray, R-A-Y. Ray. So they're in Riyadh. If you guys haven't heard the speech that President Trump made today, I think it's his best speech for unity, for progress, for economic security, everything that he talked about. It was great. And I think it'll go down as one of the best presidential speeches in history. It was that good. I'm glad I got to hear it. And he was going to do another speech at about 8 o'clock, I think, Eastern tonight. But, his plan is, okay, he got Saudi today. Tomorrow he's meeting someone else in Saudi Arabia. I can't remember who it is right now. And then he's going to go from there to Qatar. Yes, Qatar is trying to give us, not the president, but the United States, a 747 jet that could be retrofitted and made to be Air Force One. Now, the president's not allowed to take that kind of a gift personally, but can their military give it to our military? I don't see why not. Look how many planes we've given to other countries' militaries. Look how many fighter jets we have. We've given a bunch of that to our allies. So, it's different. Yeah, it's different. Taking a jet and retrofitting it, you got to repaint it, you got to fix it up inside like Air Force One wants to be, and then boom, you've got a beautiful new 747. So maybe that's what's going to happen. Some people don't like it. A lot of people do. So we'll see what happens. Not a gift to the president. It's a gift to our military. That's how it's been stated. So we'll see how that all comes out. But what's interesting is that the president's going to meet with Qatar. Let's see, is that tomorrow or the next day? Let's see. It's a 4-day deal, starting today, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So I think tomorrow he'll be in Qatar. And it is Qatar, not Qatar. You've been over that, you guys. There are still people on even Newsmax, and definitely people on One America News that aren't pronouncing it right. We don't have to say Qatar. We can just say Qatar. It's like Giftar. It's G, but with a C. Qatar. Qatar. Okay? Think of it that way. So you've got that. Then the next day, which I think would be Thursday, you have him meeting with the United Arab Emirates, UAE. And all of these, when he was there today, was with an economic conference. He was speaking to an international economic conference in Riyadh. And they were, investor conference. Investors from all over the Middle East were there to attend to listen to President Trump and what he's trying to do to lift up the Middle East and put pressure on Iran to make sure they do the right thing. Now, the last day, he's going to be in Doha. That's in Qatar. Is it Doha? Yeah. And the UAE, United Arab Emirates, on Thursday. And then there's a possible something either Thursday or Friday, working with coordinating peace in Turkey between Zelensky and Putin and getting that ceasefire made and making it something that will last. And they kind of want President Trump to be there and moderate that meeting. And obviously he should be there. I think it'd be great if he makes it. And we could get a really good final peace agreement out of that. I mean, President Trump wants peace, you guys. He doesn't want to make war. It's killing him that we're losing 5,000 young men and women a week in the war between Russia and Ukraine. I mean, it's just taking all these people out. It's terrible. He wants to stop. He wants it to stop. And I want it to stop too. I think we all do. We're getting ready to enter an era of peace. We're getting ready to enter under Gesara 1,000 years of peace. Now, it's not the millennial reign, but we'll see how that goes. Can we actually do an agreement that all these countries have signed up for that can actually maintain peace between us? We've got a ceasefire between Pakistan and India over that area, where the water is, that they've been fighting about back and forth for probably 50 years. Russia and Ukraine, peace in the Middle East with Gaza, and then we've got Iran agreeing. Oh, by the way, let's go over to some currencies. Let me tell you some of the new currencies that have been added to the first and only basket. Ain't gonna be no second basket. This is it, okay? We know about South Korea. That's a won, W-O-N, won. North Korea probably has their version of a won. Those two countries, North Korea, South Korea, are both going to be in this reset. Now, look for North and South Korea to merge again, just like Vietnam did. Look for that to happen. That's been orchestrated for a while now, and they say now that you can go freely between those two countries, North and South Korea. I can't prove that. I've been told that. So whenever that's to occur, that could be also part of Gesara. Okay? North and South Korea together. All right, other countries. China with the yuan is in the basket. We kind of knew that, didn't we? Maybe. Also, Thailand, Myanmar, which I think was called Burma, if I remember right. Thailand, and it may go back to Burma. I don't know if they'll keep Myanmar or not, but it may go back to the name Burma. I don't know. Thailand, the two, and there's probably one more I may be forgetting. I was questioned about Taiwan. Taiwan, I don't know. I don't know if it's on the Chinese yuan. And I'm pronouncing it yuan. It may be pronounced yuan. It's spelled Y-U-A-N. That's China's currency. Gold back. Yep. And so there's a couple of new ones, 2 or 3 new ones that have made their way to the screens. And all currencies around the world should be tradable on Forex. Now, we haven't seen the latest Forex screens that came up Sunday night. Today's Tuesday. But I have to believe that the Iraqi dinar is up there. And, we have a really good rate on the dinar if you go to the Redemption Center and if you have projects, even if you have Zim. You can still ask for the contract rate on dinar if they don't offer it to you. If they offer you, I don't know, let's say $30, $35 on the dinar off the front screen of the Redemption Center, you could say, I understand that, excuse me, ma'am, I understand that there is a contract rate for the Iraqi dinar. And we look into that. And she'll say, yes, there is. She'll go to a back screen and she'll see a rate that's maybe 2.5 to 3 times higher than what the front screen rate is. So I know it's not all about rates, you guys. You know that. But if you only have dong, it'd be kind of nice to get the highest rate possible. If you had only had dinar, same thing. You definitely want to get the contract rate. And, for so long they say, if you have Zim, you can just take a lower rate. Well, it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win-win. Win for you, win for Wells, and a win for the country when we take advantage of a higher rate. And President Trump was the one who set all that up. He is the one that asked Iraq to move up their oil price that they're selling it at so that we could get a higher contract rate. And I want to say right now, I don't try to be super political. I think you guys know where I stand by now after 14 years. I just think we'd have to look at this and see everything that President Trump has done in the first 100 days, now maybe 110 or 20 days, and just marvel at it and just say, man, he is on fire, and he's just getting so many things done. He does so much in a day that most presidents wouldn't be able to get done in a month. That beautiful big bill, hopefully that'll pass. And if that happens, we want it done by Memorial Day, and President Trump's deadline is kind of July 4th. So hopefully these guys will continue to mark it up and get that bill done, and we'll get the tax cuts. And listen, it's very possible, you guys, when Nesara comes out in full, whenever that is, that they say, hey, there's no more state income tax. There's no more federal income tax. I really believe that's going to happen. We'll go to a consumption tax, which is either 14 or 15% on new items, and it's inboarded in the cost of goods. It's put in the cost. It's not on top of it. It's into the price. Half the revenue would go to the federal government, half would go to the state. That's how it's set up. It's called a consumption tax. It's similar to the value-added tax in Europe, which is up around 20. Last time I went to Europe, VIT was 17%. But now I think it's gone up to 20. But this consumption tax is something that we'll get very used to. Some things will be cheaper. A few things might be a little more expensive, but it's not going to be a problem for us. It's going to be a lot easier for us to have money to buy $1 million worth of stuff a year than to pay $10 million in taxes a year. I mean, who knows, right? We don't know what that would be like. But I'd rather just consume responsibly, give people money, rebuild America, rebuild internationally, help the veterans and the Veterans Retreat Network, and help pastors, teachers, and evangelists in the Pastoral Retreat Network. So, we're looking good. It's not absolute, because it's hard to get confirmation, but really good sources that we have, some of our best, are saying they're looking for us to get notified tomorrow, set appointments to start exchanges on Thursday. And to tie that in, we've got bondholders that are also being told that they will have access to their accounts on Thursday. So I think they're trying to tie that in to where we have pretty much a shotgun start, pretty close. They're getting access to their funds as we're getting access to our appointments. And then our funds will come the same day. So we're real close to being a shotgun start if that goes on like that. Now, in the meantime,